Alrighty, everybody, a very special and ghostly welcome back to Ghoster Coasters. But first, for the first time, and after a long time of jokes, we hope you all are having a Six Flags day as we get into the first official days of the merger. After months of will they, won't they, and plenty of people doubting that this would ever officially happen, we have finally met the end of the Cedar Fair days and entered the Six Flags days and on. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, then what are you waiting for? Join the spooky community today. A huge shout out goes out to our coaster ghost and producers and members of the channel for being the best coaster community out there. On to Six Flags.
Let's take a moment of silence for Cedar Fair, founded in 1983. Its name derived from two parks, Cedar representing Cedar Point and Fair representing Valley Fair. The company went public on April 29, 1987. Under Cedar Fair's leadership, Cedar Point grew to become one of the largest amusement parks in the world, and the company increased its portfolio by acquiring other amusement properties throughout the United States. In a press release from Cedar Fair in November of 2023, the company states that they will boast a combined portfolio of 42 iconic parks, 9 resort properties across 17 states, Canada, and Mexico. And the combined company will also have entertainment partnerships and a portfolio of beloved IPs such as the Looney Tunes, DC Comics, and Peanuts to develop engaging new attractions enabled by compelling characters, environments, and storytelling.
With all of the merger stuff ironed out, specifications met behind closed doors, and well, everything signed off on, we now have one big old company called Six Flags. So what do we expect from this now that it has actually gone through? And to be clear, we've been pretty excited about this from the beginning, and we're very excited about this now. Our Six Flags days have been going on for a while, and we both can't wait for the best of both of these parks to shine through. The only real change that we need to happen out of all of this is the name change to Michigan's Adventure. It needs to be Six Flags Great Lakes, and there is no debate here. Or for all of you Michiganders out there, let's name it Deer Park again, and just take it back. Any objections? Oh yeah, and all you Cedar Fair execs, since Cedar Fair doesn't exist anymore, did you guys purposely buy Geauga Lake to bury it, or was it too late by then to be honest with us? Come on, please? Okay, but seriously guys, we have a ton to get into today, from season passes, the skip the line structures, which parks will be the golden goose, Peanuts and Looney Tunes stuff, new IPs, and you know how long is all of this merger stuff going to take to fully take, because of course, we aren't going to see it all happen tomorrow. So let's go ahead and dive, drop, and scare. You know the deal.
So, with the season pass structures and the new company going forward, a lot of questions are going to be asked about that. And we're wanting to know as well. So, look guys, Cedar Fair had the season pass thing down a little bit better than Six Flags did, and albeit they were changing things up year to year too, I still feel like we all kind of agree that the passes were handled better through Cedar Fair, so it's likely that the Cedar Fair pass structure will take place within the new company with an all park pass option added onto it that allows you to visit all the parks. The reasoning behind this is that Cedar Fair's reasoning is that most people with the all park passes tend to only visit one other park on average, or two at most, with the coaster enthusiasts kind of being the rare outliers who travel to numerous other parks per year, meaning they usually make their money back hand over fist on their all park option anyways.
This would be enticing for the new company, with a ton of new parks, to raise the price by a bit, nothing too crazy. Because the reality is, yes, some people from California will make the trip to Cedar Point and vice versa to California, but raising the price will make up for the amount of people who do it and the amount of people who still visit their regional parks and go to 1, 2, or 3 parks annually will more than likely make up for all the park option at the new increased rate. We all kind of agree Cedar Fair's pass system isn't perfect, but it was handled better than Six Flags was and at a better price point that allowed the parks to keep things in control. So let's assume the new company continues this trend and improves the formula with all the smart minds in the room. But what about the Flash Pass? Fastlane debate.
Again, everyone, this is going to be another Cedar Fair dominated thing. We see the Cedar Fair parks installing all these electric wait signs and scanning stations, and look, it just makes way more sense. We don't need to be strapped to our phones and relying on our phones anymore in the parks. Parks are meant for days spent enjoying the moments, and for those who film, yes, it's counteractive to what I'm saying right now, but with us, it's like, do we really want to be on the phone even more, worrying about the phone battery even more when the wristband system scanning works way better already?
Let's just keep the Cedar Fair way here and make sure this applies across the company going forward. But yeah, it's not going to happen tomorrow, everyone. We got a little time here. The Six Flags parks will need time to install things and make changes for this to happen. So enjoy your 90% wait time reductions and so on for now. I do enjoy that part and will miss it myself, but reality is the implementation of Fastlane works better and is a more friendly experience for those who don't even own a phone. I know, crazy world to imagine someone without a phone, but people don't, you guys, believe me.
And of course, that's not a very high percentage of park goers or anybody really, but there are some people out there who don't even have it, so that's just kind of automatically taken away from them anyways, and you're probably going, well, how can they afford it? Just stop asking those questions. It's just, why do we need to be tied to technology anyways? But another thing we wanted to discuss is the parks improving overall, the Six Flags parks, the neglected Cedar Fair parks, because the overhead's going to be a little different. The structure within the parks is going to be a little different, which means the spending can be a little bit different. So the biggest thing from this is the merger is the fact that we should all win big here. I know we heard a ton of people weren't excited about this, and why? More parks, more smart minds, less overhead, meaning bigger budgets, and all of the bad stuff getting corrected hopefully in all the lower tier parks within the chain, right? For parks like Michigan's Adventure, we do have to wonder, where does this leave them, as they were already the forgotten park, and now it's like, does Six Flags know this park exists? Will they add to it? Will they give it love? The additions to the smaller parks is yet to be seen, and of course, guys, I know Darien Lake exists, Six Flags St. Louis, among a ton of other parks that are neglected within these two chains that we all have questions about. The main thing is infrastructure and overhead should improve, so we should see some more trickle down to these parks that we otherwise wouldn't have seen before, with cuts and other things likely coming from these lower parks. First, can we see some more love added to these parks now?
The overall atmosphere within the park should improve, but the operations at the Six Flags parks like Magic Mountain, that we always hear are so awful, should see improvements over the years as new higher-ups are implemented and the new company's policies fully take over. Imagine Kings Island operations at Six Flags Magic Mountain. That's really the goal here for the company, everyone. Get the operations side of things on par with like Kings Island, and get the whole atmosphere and PR team on the level of Dorney Park's Ryan and Six Flags Fiesta Texas Jeffrey Siebert, with the attractions and entertainment on levels of the Cedar Fair parks, and over time, maybe even much better than that. It seems like the Six Flags has taken a recent step in that direction with the hot events, and we'll discuss the rest of the company next.
Here's where Six Flags really starts to add some good value to Cedar Fair's value. With news of the merger, we all have to wonder just how these new haunt events are going to work. With Six Flags recently completely overhauling their entire haunt event for select parks, this year Fright Fest returns with vengeance and goes extreme. Visitors to Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey and Six Flags Magic Mountain in Los Angeles will step into a world where nightmarish creatures inspired by legendary horror brands come to life. You'll see creatures from Saw, Stranger Things, Army of the Dead, The Conjuring, Annabelle, The Nun, Trick or Treat. Guests at Six Flags Great Adventure will also be treated to a experience from Netflix and Legendary Entertainment's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, while Mexico guests will also get Deceased, a DC comic maze as well. Now this is only at Six Flags Magic Mountain and Six Flags Great Adventure. We're not quite sure why the Chicago area didn't get the nod here as well, being such a huge area, but hey, we don't know. So it seems it's an opening season run for the parks to see how these go, and we are beyond excited to see how this goes for the Six Flags parks.
But where does that leave the old Cedar Fair parks, since the Six Flags release says absolutely nothing about it? Will this be a next year thing? Will Cedar Fair act as a skeleton company for the remainder of the calendar or operating year, then fully transition things over so nothing gets jumbled up and they remain in a creative control of their haunt and Halloween for the time being? We're guessing 2025 will be the big first year we see haunt changes for the Cedar Fair parks as well. But Tony Clark did mention they wanted to change Halloween this season, so everyone expect Cedar Point to kind of follow suit with Six Flags Great Adventure and Six Flags Magic Mountain and go with some IPs and themed haunts this year. Something just feels like that may happen, and that is our bold guess for this merger. One of the first things we'll see that is obviously tied into the merger is the haunt event IP usage, if we had to guess here. But who knows? Time will tell as always with these things, right everybody?
With a good focus on culinary arts in the Cedar Fair chain over the past few seasons, a major shift in quality of food served in the parks along with the restaurants added to parks like Cedar Point and Kings Island among others, we'd wholeheartedly expect Six Flags food to go up in the way of quality over the next few seasons. This won't happen overnight, but over the next few years, yeah, definitely we expect the offerings will change as the old Cedar Fair execs go into the parks and make suggestions or recommendations to increase park spending and quality. Plus, I'm sure they want to start implementing the strategy of park foods versus signing deals for other places such as like Johnny Rockets, etc. to come in there.
With that in mind, we really do expect to see Six Flags food improve a lot over the course of a few seasons here. And with the additions like Farmhouse and the Grand Pavilion to Cedar Point, Six Flags parks could be in for a treat with some of the long history that they offer, with a few nods to the park's past and odes to history throughout, and a catered menu to the general areas. You could have some real special dining areas in all of these parks throughout the chain, being in many regions across the country. The options seem endless, and the quality is what really needs to go up in the Six Flags parks.
As far as the manufacturers go, we can discuss all day about how Cedar Fair has or doesn't have relationships with certain companies and how they may have run thin on companies they were willing to work with, but let's just go ahead and full stop right there. Six Flags Over Georgia is opening an Intamin with Georgia Surfer here, so let's just cut the crap. The new Six Flags company will more than likely work with whichever manufacturers they want to going forward. And Zamperla, hey guys, you're probably going to get relegated back to the flat rides department because time keeps ticking away and you really haven't delivered at this point and the verdict is out. With Thunderbolt still not open over there at PNE Playland, and I know that was a midsummer one, but it's still not open, Top Thrill 2 is experiencing issues and the resurgence of Vekoma coming to parks like Holiday World and within the new chain at parks like Kings Island and Six Flags Great Adventure, Intamin's being built, and tons of other manufacturers out there. Six Flags is poised to work with whomever they want going forward, and this is a good thing for each and every one of us. The big questions ahead are, of course,
will they continue to clone rides? And will we finally see a Giga at Six Flags Park? If you check out the top 30 steel roller coasters, you will find every Giga built at a Cedar Fair park within those rankings. So it makes you wonder if the next step for some of these Six Flags parks is adding that coveted Giga that has been rumored at so many parks over the years. We can debate the return on investment all day, but reality is the rides deliver a top 30 steel coaster in the world, and the proof is right in the awards. If Six Flags wants more top-tier elite roller coasters, maybe the Giga is the way to go. As far as cloning goes, with as many parks as they have in the chain and the new budget, we'd like to see clones go, but the likelihood is we will see some rides getting cloned throughout the chain. Let's hope Cedar Fair can continue the trend of adding to their little parks and not cloning rides at their smaller scale parks. Valley Fair and Michigan's Adventure were in the line, guys. Come on!
So with the merger, the big question is, what parks are going to be the golden geese of the chain now? Obviously, Cedar Point will retain its place. Kings Island still has what we'd say are the best operations in the entire industry of all the parks that we've been to yet. Six Flags Great Adventure and Magic Mountain, regardless of their operations, are considered top-tier parks by the chain just based off the investments and location for Magic Mountain. And for us personally, Great America is such a close park to Kings Island that, it doesn't have anything super elite. It's just a well-rounded good park. Six Flags Fiesta Texas is one of the nicer parks according to guests who go visit and has one of the nicer coaster events every year that enthusiasts travel from all over for, so we could see Texas continuing to grow as well. What do you guys think as far as the Golden Goose parks go? Who will get the biggest and baddest additions? Is Carowinds still in the mix? Lots of unanswered questions here and lots of time to figure things out. And we still don't know what the heck is going on with King's Dominion's Project 305 either, but it could get really fun in a few weeks here.
On November 2nd, 2023, Six Flags and Cedar Fair announced they had entered into a definitive agreement for a merger. And as the months passed, many of us didn't really know if all the needs would be met to satisfy the merger. The day has come, and Cedar Fair is no more. Six Flags it is, and Cedar Point is now somehow part of the Six Flags company. If you would have said this 24 years ago, I'm sure many people would have laughed hysterically about the potential of a merger between these two regional amusement park giants. And today we're here getting to enjoy the spoils of 42 parks across 17 states, all under hopefully one season pass in just a few short months from now. What a life, and what a time to be alive. Coaster enthusiasts, friends, and community.
Six Flags over Ohio, Sandusky, Six Flags Kings Island. The jokes were heard, but the reality is here, and Kings Island is indeed a park under the Six Flags company as well as Cedar Point. We're really excited here at Ghoster Coasters for all the potential good to come from this merger, and yes, we know there are things that won't go smooth, things we won't like, and things that won't go exactly how we expect from this video, and that's okay. Life doesn't go as expected. It's a roller coaster, and we're just here for the ride. And like the ticker on the New York Stock Exchange, it's supposed to be fun. We hope you guys find a little fun with the Six Flags days here. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you're most excited for, or if you really want, what you're at least excited about with the merger, when you think all of the changes will be finalized, when the passes and all the fast lane things will be announced, and of course any of the other comments or questions you guys have for all of us.
If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join the spooky community today. We couldn't do all of this without all of you Coaster Ghosters out there, and a huge shout out goes out to our channel members for helping produce all of this content as well. You ghouls are the best community of ghosters in the coaster world, so thanks again, everyone. As always, thanks for being a part of our spooky community. And for Coaster Ghostin' with Ghoster Coasters.
Have a Six Flags day, everybody.
And America's Rockin' Roller Coast.
Or wherever Coaster Ghosters coast.
Yeah, they say Six Flags has a lot of parks now, you know.